Good evening. This video is going to be from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 9, verses 1 through 8, and 18 through 22. Jesus stepped into a boat, crossed over, and came to his own town. Some men brought to him a paralytic lying on a mat. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralytic, "Take heart, son, your sins are forgiven." At this, some of the teachers of the law were sitting there thinking to themselves, "Why does this fellow talk like that? He's blaspheming. Who can forgive sins but God alone?" Knowing their thoughts, Jesus said, "Why do you entertain evil thoughts in your hearts? Which is easier to say, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Get up and walk'? But so that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins." He said to the paralytic, "I tell you, get up, take your mat, and go home." And the man got up and went home. When the crowd saw this, they were filled with awe, and they praised God who had given such authority to man. When Jesus went out with his disciples, a ruler came and knelt down before him and begged him to come and heal his daughter who was close to death. Jesus got up and went with him, and so did his disciples. Just then, a woman who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak. She said to herself, "If I only touch his clothes, I will be healed." Jesus turned and saw her. "Take heart, daughter," he said, "your faith has healed you." And at that moment, she was healed. Really interesting fact about these verses. There's two phrases that Jesus said that really catches my attention. I've heard this preached before. First, when he says to the paralytic, "Take heart, son," and to the woman subject to bleeding for 12 years, she said, "Take heart, daughter." He could have said, "Take heart, man," "Take heart, woman," but he called them daughter and son. And, Jesus never met these people in the flesh. He wouldn't have known who they were if he wasn't God himself. That just illustrates that God has a deep relationship with everyone that he creates, and he wants us to come to him. Another interesting thing about the woman subject to bleeding for 12 years, it says in Mark 5:26, she had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors, and had spent all she had, yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. I mean, think about it, 12 years. You basically need energy to have blood. She was probably having all kinds of sicknesses, probably couldn't walk around much. I've also heard in another video, like, she probably wasn't allowed to go in the temple because the priests would say she was unclean or whatnot. Jesus is the great physician. It doesn't matter how long you've been suffering from something. He can set you free. In fact, sometimes when I read this every few weeks just to review it, I weep down wet because I share like some similarities with this woman, because I had a personal struggle with growing up on the spectrum, being bullied in school, suffering from addiction from the time of 16 to 34. Basically just not wanting to live, just basically being enslaved. And it wasn't until I put my faith in the answer that I was set free. Jesus, in fact, there's another woman that's mentioned in Luke's Gospel, 13:16, where it was talking about this woman who was bent over and crippled. And the Pharisees were saying there's 6 days for work, so come and heal me on that day, not on the Sabbath. And Jesus said, "Then should not this woman, this daughter of Abraham, be set free from what has bound her on the Sabbath?" So it don't matter if you've been suffering with something for a short time, long time, or even your whole life. As we remember Easter tomorrow, just remember it says in 1 Peter, "By his wounds we've been healed."